Coming up today, a Kansas City fan favorite finds balance on and off the soccer field, using her voice to put the spotlight on early breast cancer detection. Good morning, I'm Jessica Lovell, and welcome to the Morning Medical Update. Raven Jemison is typically a very private woman, even as the face of the Kansas City Current women's soccer team. But when her health took a sudden turn, she knew it was her bigger calling to come forward and share her story. About as soon as Raven Jemison was welcomed in by her new team, fans, and the city as president of the Kansas City Current,
11,500 strong. There's not a bad seat.
The excitement quickly dwindled.
It was 11:52 a.m. on March 7th. All I hear is, "You have cancer. You're cancer." And in that moment, I'm sitting and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is this real?
Her doctors at the University of Kansas Cancer Center told Raven she had invasive carcinoma, a type of breast cancer.
I go home, I fall into my wife's arms in tears and like, yeah, I've never been sick in my life.
A few weeks earlier, Raven had found a lump.
I was sitting watching TV and I felt a lump in my breast. And I was like, okay, this doesn't feel normal, but it's probably nothing. But I do go to get a mammogram the next day. I am not a crier, but I cried quite a bit.
Her cancer team helped her understand her diagnosis and weigh her options.
The mass was much bigger than we thought, and so I had to have a mastectomy, which was a whole other point of grieving.
While Raven caught her cancer early and had been getting regular mammograms, she admits life got in the way. She had skipped a few.
Making the same excuses, like, oh, it doesn't run in my family. They didn't find anything last time. Like, I'm okay, I do the right things. Just ignorance, really. Yeah, there are times I should have gotten a mammogram, and I did not.
We can't guess what kind of breast cancer a patient will get. And if you happen to have a aggressive invasive cancer, those are going to advance more quickly. So if we skip a year, we can go from an early stage to an advanced stage literally within a year's time. We also know that those more aggressive cancers are in younger women. So just adding to the importance of getting those mammograms annually starting at the age of 40.
Raven is considered cancer-free today. She takes a pill daily and will for the next 5 years under doctor's surveillance. In the meantime, her eye is on the ball, on her health and what really matters.
Your health is the only thing that you have. Your family is the only one you're gonna get. This time is the only time you're gonna get on this planet. And you should probably just care about less things.
If you see Raven today, she'll never stop talking sports.
We have the best home pitch advantage in soccer, and I think our players realize that.
But now you can expect her to ask if you've scheduled your mammogram.
Because I was that person, successful on the surface, but putting other things ahead of my health. Schedule it now and tell me when it is, and I'm gonna text you to make sure you went to get your mammogram.
And we are so glad to welcome Raven Jemison this morning from CPKC Stadium in Kansas City. Good morning, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Good morning, how are you?
Oh, good, good. Great shot out there this morning.
Good. It is beautiful out here, and it's beautiful every day. Today's especially beautiful.
It certainly is. We're so excited to speak with you this morning. In studio with us, we have plastic surgeon Dr. Sterling Braun and breast surgeon Dr. Krista Balanoff, both with the University of Kansas Cancer Center in Olathe. So it's really great to have members of Raven's other team here with us in studio. Raven, I want to start with you, though. Just how are you feeling today?
I am feeling great today. As you guys know, I did run the Des Moines half marathon, so my legs feel a little tight, but otherwise super blessed to be sitting here talking to you today.
Well, for running marathons, that's a pretty good sign. We like hearing that.
I agree. Totally agree.
Yes, back to marathon running. So it's been another exciting season for you and the team, but as you're learning, health comes first now. How have you been doing that and then trying to get your team to the playoffs? That's quite a lot on your plate.
Yeah. Health is first. The good news is I've learned through this diagnosis that the health is absolutely first. The team is taking care of its business on the pitch without me, which is a blessing. If you know, we have won the NWSL Shield, which represents the best league, basically the best team in the league during the regular season. So the first piece is done. The championship hopefully is on the way, and we will definitely do everything we need to do to get there. But I stay out of the way of the team and what happens on the pitch. It's my responsibility outside of the green. So it has been a fun end or I guess kind of midpoint to the end of the season as we kind of march to the championship.
Well, it's really an exciting time all around for everyone here in Kansas
Absolutely.
City. You said, kind of in quote, true Raven fashion, when you got that diagnosis that day, that you got right up and said, let's just figure this out. You said this was a speed bump. It's not a pothole. You know, I assume that's just kind of how you are and how you've always been, but that's certainly not always an easy way to see things when you're dealing with cancer. How did you do that?
Absolutely. It's great. I definitely had the what do we do? What's the treatment plan? How do we move past this? But truthfully, there was a moment where I was angry. You know, I went through the 5 stages of grief through this process. I felt like, why me? I felt like my body was failing me when it's been so strong my entire life. So I definitely went through the pieces of, oh my God, I can't believe that this is happening to me. That being said, true Raven fashion and the support of not just my family, but the support of my team here at the Kansas City Current and Kansas City, truthfully, this city and community rallied as soon as I shared my diagnosis. So I felt like my only way to move through it was to actually move through it and move through it with confidence and strength that this was just a speed bump. And it absolutely was not easy, but having support meant everything.
What were doctors telling you? What was the plan out of the gate?
Yeah. Dr. Balanoff, I will say, right out of the gate was educational. She was very patient, and I mentioned this to you the last time we spoke, Jess. There were so many questions, and my wife is typically the one that is dealing with a lot of the medical care because she's the one in the family that had a double lung transplant, and we went to doctors for the last, she had a double lung transplant 21 years ago. So it was I'm usually the caregiver and listening to the doctor and listening to the things that they're saying about a treatment plan. And my wife having that experience to know what to ask, when to ask it. And she's, her being very curious, usually I call it nosy, but her being very curious definitely was beneficial during that time when we first met with Dr. Balanoff. And I had no idea what I was walking into. I had no idea if I was going to need radiation or chemotherapy and what that meant, what that was going to mean for my day-to-day life. And someone who barely has time to get a mammogram, how am I going to find time to do radiation treatments and asking the questions, and what if I don't want to do that, and how does that work? And Dr. Balanoff was beyond gracious with her time, beyond gracious with her care, and she absolutely just took each question as she needed to and made us feel comfortable as we went through that treatment plan.
Well, I do remember you telling me that your team was excellent at explaining things down to the very teeniest, tiniest detail because you had a lot of questions. So let's bring them in. Dr. Balanoff, first, just explain a little bit more about the type of breast cancer that Raven has and that she had and what she was diagnosed with. And is it rare, common? Tell us the details.
So the initial diagnosis was a non-invasive ductal cancer. And we actually found invasive cancer when we went to surgery as well. And during the course of the workup and the evaluation, it appeared that it was more extensive within the breast tissue than what we were thinking initially as well. It's a very common type of breast cancer, and unfortunately it's common in younger women as well. But the good thing is it's very, very treatable.
When you say invasive, what does that mean?
It means it's popped through the wall of the duct. So it doesn't mean it's invading all over the body or going anywhere else. It just means it's popped outside of the wall of that structure that it lives in.
So it's common. Is it aggressive?
Not necessarily. Biologically, there's a lot of different types of breast cancers that we see. Luckily, this was a hormone-driven tumor, which tends to be less aggressive than some of the other types of biologies that we see.
Now, how is it typically treated?
Typically, we do surgery. Surgery is usually always in the cards for somebody who's diagnosed with a breast cancer. And then there's often systemic therapy and possibly also radiation therapy, depending on what type of surgery somebody has.
So why do some patients need a mastectomy along with radiation and chemo, but in Raven's case, she just had the mastectomy?
Yes, so some people opt for mastectomy, whether it's just a personal choice, family risk factors, things of that nature. Sometimes it's extent of the disease, so the breast is telling us that this disease is throughout the breast and we need to remove the breast to treat the disease. So it's a lot of different factors. It ultimately, most of the time, comes down to a patient choice.
Raven, I want to ask you, you chose to do a unilateral mastectomy to just have one breast removed, and some women choose to do both. Can you just maybe help us understand what went into your decision making? You said that was a whole other grieving process for you.
Yeah. Well, in talking to Dr. Balanoff, I believe a lumpectomy, and she can correct me, a lumpectomy because of the size of the mass wasn't going to be possible to preserve the breast. And I also thought, I don't want to go through this again, so let's just remove it. And I know Dr. Braun's there, and we can talk about how he and I work together and how awesome he is. But I just figured, okay, this isn't ideal, but I'm going to have to lose one of my breasts and figure out how to go through life without it. And so to your point earlier about it being a grieving process, as a woman, your breasts are part of you, right? So there's a part of you that says, okay, this is going to be weird. What am I going to look like? What type of bras am I going to have to wear? How is that going to work? And we're going to have my breast reconstruction surgery in December. So, Dr. Braun's going to work his magic. So I look as amazing as I do right now, or before I started all of this. So it is absolutely challenging when you're not only dealing with the fact that, as I said, I felt like my body was failing me. And now I have to figure out how to live this new normal and what that's going to look like and how I'm going to feel moving throughout the process before I could have my reconstruction. And of course, I waited the 6 months or so, or I guess it would be 8 months now, from my actual mastectomy to reconstruction, because there's a championship date on November 22nd for us that I needed to make sure that I was going to be a part of. And I did not want to miss out on that. So again, the care and the confidence that Dr. Braun and Dr. Balanoff gave me through this process to say that that was possible and that I could do that was something that I'm very grateful for.
Raven, your team here at the desk is kind of smiling and kind of laughing a little bit because they know how important your team there at the stadium is and making sure you're there. And
they do.
It's kind of
they
like
definitely do.
Yeah, they do. I think because you guys have all communicated, it's like a team, and you're working as a partnership, Dr. Braun, I would imagine, with your patient to say, what are your needs? And it's not just physically, but also she's needed there with her team there on the pitch. I learned that. Thank you, Raven. I'm learning my soccer lingo.
You got it.
I got it. Okay, I'm learning. So talk to me about those conversations that you have to have with patients, because the needs are different. Some women will say, yep, let's go for the double mastectomy. We'll go straight into reconstruction. And then someone like Raven says, I want to try to see about a lumpectomy. Let's try to preserve as much as we can. That wasn't the case here. So tell us about the conversations that you're having with a patient like Raven from the beginning.
Sure. So, the primary thing, of course, is treating the cancer. And we have a fantastic team, and Dr. Balanoff does excellent work along with our medical oncologists and radiation oncologists here. And so really, once the cancer has been dealt with, my goal is to restore for the patient really to the best that we can, their aesthetics and really to kind of meet their goals. So in Raven's case, she was getting a mastectomy, and after a mastectomy, there's three main options that you have. One option is to go flat, and some patients prefer that. But we find that a lot of patients see improvement in their emotional well-being and quality of life with undergoing breast reconstruction. And so with that, there's the two main options are to use a breast implant to restore the shape and volume of the breast, or to use your own tissue, and usually that's in the form of a deep flap. Which is similar to doing an abdominoplasty or a tummy tuck, but using the abdominal tissue to reshape the breast.
Tell me about we talk about all aspects of Raven's care, and this very, it's very multidisciplinary when you're working with the medical oncologist and the surgical aspect of everything. But specifically, how does this benefit and impact a patient and their choices going down the line?
Reconstruction?
Just all of it, just the multidisciplinary and everybody working together. I think some people think you come and it's kind of like you stop at one doctor and then you're kind of going on to the next.
This is not a silo.
Exactly. Yes. Everyone is working together when you come to the cancer center.
Absolutely not a silo. And we actually find that patients have better long-term outcomes working within a multidisciplinary team, when we're all communicating together and working together with the patient to make it work for not only treating the cancer, but also make work for them. And really kind of getting that whole group of people together, surgeons, medical oncologists, radiation oncologists, plastic surgeons, that's where patients are going to have the best outcomes long term.
What was it like working with Raven as a patient, I have to
Amazing. Ask? So, Raven had such grace going into this, and just was a sponge and wanting to learn everything. And we had changes in our plans, so just the fluidity of typically what happens with this, as we're going through the process of figuring out what is the best route and what is the best treatment. Raven really handled this just with amazing grace.
Dr. Braun?
She's an absolute rock star, I would say, So like I said, I mean, my goal is just to give patients the information and empower them to make the best decision for them. Raven was often asking me how quickly she could get back to intensive workouts after the surgery. She just ran a half marathon yesterday. I said, well, maybe give it a little bit of time, but.
And that's usually the hardest part of recovery for patients. It's just taking that step back and not doing so much.
And I ask you that because it's not every day. I mean, most patients, I told her, I said, she ran a marathon yesterday. I took a 3-hour nap. So it's like, most patients are like me. I have no problem sitting around. But she's somebody
You would be surprised.
Right. Yes. You have a patient like this that you're trying to pin down.
Yes.
Literally pin her down to the ground. She's trying to get back to work. She's trying to get back to marathons. So, so I just.
But she has amazing family around her too. They say, hey.
Yeah.
Let me do this for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Raven, what was it like just having that family support? I know with your mom and your wife, and what did that, and then of course, and then talk about that, and then of course just the city. You said, tell me a little bit about that story about just the city wrapping its arms around you. You said you were quite surprised when you showed up, and then you get this diagnosis, and then these letters start showing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Really quickly on the multidisciplinary care. That is such a piece that I did not know was so important before I get to the community. As soon as I talked to Dr. Balanoff, she was like, well, Dr. Braun's going to do this, and this is how it's going to work. And it wasn't like I needed to re-explain everything about my care, going from doctor to doctor, which is so valuable. And it's just one piece of the story that you can say, hey, check, that's done, that I don't have to think about what am I going to have to tell the next doctor and how are they going to work with this doctor. So I just want to, again, shout out those two. They are absolutely a great team, and definitely I feel like part of my family, which speaks to my family. When they knew that I was talking to you guys today and Dr. Balanoff and Dr. Braun were going to be on, my mom was like, oh my God, can I come and say hello? And I'm like, well, that's not really how it works. But I'll absolutely let them know that that you all said hello. But this city and this community and just the story that you're talking about, as soon as I shared my diagnosis publicly, I missed the first game ever in my career going through this treatment. And I've been in sports for 20 years now. And I've been in baseball, I've been in basketball, and I've gone to every single game as an employee of the team that I was working for. And this was the first game I missed. And when in my note, I said that I'm going to miss the magic of CPKC Stadium because it's going to be my first game that I miss. And as I'm going through this treatment and having to be still and not move because I needed to get the drains out, which both doctors know that I despised, the notes and the cookies and the balloons and the just small tokens of just, hey, we miss you as well at CPKC Stadium, and you're going to be right back here with us. And those kind of things matter when people are going through this. And I was not expecting it. I would get notes from people that I met maybe once, or somebody who met someone that I met, but they knew that I was the president of the Current, and that just speaks to what a community asset the Current is. I think it has little to do with me. It actually means that the Current is such a valuable asset to this community, and that's a testament to how this community has rallied around this club. So it's been absolutely amazing to be here in Kansas City going through this. Truthfully, I don't know if I would have felt this way in any of the other cities that I've been in. So that's a testament to Kansas City. And of course, my family has just been amazing. They are absolutely the reason why I'm able to sit here today, knowing that this is a bump in the road, and it's not the end of my story by any stretch.
Certainly is not. Well, we love getting your questions and comments. You can use the chat on YouTube or Facebook. You can email the Medical News Network. That information is there on your screen. Raven, you shared your story when the KC Current hosted a lunch and a tour for cancer center staff and breast cancer survivors. Here is what the experience meant to them.
To have the incredible organization support behind women's cancer, I mean, that's the best platform we could ever ask for. I mean, you think about all these young girls, young females following the sport, you know, knowing about the cancers and ways that they could diagnose it. I think also just showing support, you know, like they said, you have patients. These are female athletes and they have family members. And so just drawing attention to it, it really means a lot to us at KU. And then to show our patients and to let them have fun and to celebrate their journey and their survivorship.
As a patient, it feels really special. I mean, what a treat. You know, it's very rare that you find someone that hasn't been touched by breast cancer today, and this is such a special event that makes us feel so celebrated. I brought my daughter with me today to be my guest, and I'm really just excited to see the whole experience through her eyes because, you know, as a young woman who is so excited about soccer and women's sports in general, like, it's just really cool to be able to experience it with her.
Raven, you mentioned you're otherwise pretty shy and quite private, but you decided it was important to go public. Why is that?
Because there's people out there that are probably like me. This won't happen to me. It doesn't run in my family. Oh, I can skip a mammogram. Basically ignorant to how this works and how it can work. And my only hope is that someone sees someone like me, not just sharing to get your mammograms and stay on top of your care, but also what's possible when you have great care and you can move through this as strong as you can and really rely on the doctors that I've been blessed to have. So the earlier you find it, what I'm learning is the better. So it's my only hope that people look at my story and say, hey, if I've missed a few mammograms or I've missed a couple because life has gotten too busy or because work is more important, this could be something that happens to me. So let's not do that. And I am honest, I'm serious when I talked to you last time, Jess. If someone's telling me they're getting a mammogram, and it's happened a couple times now, I've texted them on the day, hey, keeping that appointment, ? And it's been something that's become a thing amongst my friend group, many of whom are in positions with a lot of pressure that they have for their careers, but there's really no excuse. It takes an hour and a half out of your day.
So you're saying you bug them and annoy them with your text message. I love that.
100%. Almost like KU Med with your reminder text through my chart. Check in.
They
don't forget to check in. Is your insurance the same?
They don't even need that anymore. They just have you. You could just fill in for them. I love that.
Whatever you need.
Automated.
Whatever you need.
They'll just have Raven Jemison do
That's
it.
right.
A more automated system. That's perfect. Dr. Braun,
That's exactly right.
Let's talk about the current screening guidelines then. What are they?
So all women over the age of 40 should get a mammogram each year as part of their annual screening.
So what if you have a family history? If there's a family history, can you request one early?
You requested it to go 10 years younger than your youngest family member was diagnosed. So if your youngest family member was 45 when they were diagnosed with breast cancer, we recommend you start at 35. Getting your annual screening.
What about genetic testing? When is that necessary?
Yeah. So we talk to all women who are diagnosed with breast cancer about doing genetic testing, especially women under 50. We talked to him about the role of genetic testing, and we probably only are finding a genetic component to this about 10 to 15% of the time. But one of the big benefits of genetic testing is that we're also testing for a lot of other things. So from a moving forward screening prevention standpoint, we can know, gosh, I need to be doing colonoscopies every 5 years instead of every 10, or I really need to be seeing my dermatologist, things of that nature as well. So it's important to talk about genetics even when you don't have a family history of breast cancer.
Let's get to some questions and comments from our community this morning. Karen says, prayers for healing. You are in excellent hands. Jeremy has a question for Raven. Did that new normal kind of hit all at once, or was it kind of a gradual thing for you?
It's still hitting me, honestly. There are times, and this is the longest I've ever talked about having cancer, right? Like in conversations like this, it used to, sometimes it's like, hey, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and this is my treatment, and I move on. But having to talk about it in depth, the last conversation we had, Jess, it took me a while that day. I actually went home that day to just kind of get myself together, like, holy crap, this is real. There's also times where I am extremely fatigued. Could it be a side effect of the medication I'm on, where I can't work out as hard as I want to work out, and realizing, okay, this is potentially my new normal, so how do we work around it? But it absolutely hits in waves. I was just telling, I had a PR in the half marathon yesterday. I was welling up in the middle of the run, and I'm like, oh my God, I did not think that this was possible just a few months ago. And so it hits me in waves, and it still does that.
Nancy has a question for you. What was it like for Raven when she had to tell the team she had cancer?
Whew, hard. I'd actually had to say it a few times. So I had to first tell our owners, just so they knew that this is what's happening, and I'm going to need some time off to deal with this. And they were, of course, as gracious and kind and whatever you need. So that hurdle was crossed, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Then I had to tell the executive team, and that was done a few hours later. And that was hard. That was really hard, because I believe that the team that I have been surrounded with is like my family. And I never want to let anyone down, and me not being here felt like I was letting people down, even though I know it's not that simple. And looking around the room, and a couple people in the room knew, just because of how we have to work around here. But it was heartbreaking to see some of their faces just in shock. And then I had to tell the entire team, the entire staff, later that week. And it was challenging looking out at the faces of people being like, oh, wow, what does this mean? But then the conversations after, people coming up to me and saying, hey, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and this is what she did, and this is how she's doing. And then people just letting me know that, one, I can heal and recover, and this place will be fine. But two, treating me like a human and actually caring about me. That was it was what I needed at the time. So it was definitely challenging, but also a reminder.
Yeah, that you were already feeling your impact on even just your team members.
Hopefully.
Dr. Braun, what's the big takeaway from this conversation this morning? What do you want people to know?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway, and the message Raven's trying to deliver is so great, is that early detection is a key thing for this, and it's so important to get a mammogram. And I think another takeaway for me is I feel blessed to just be part of such a great team here at KU with people like Dr. Balanoff and from medical oncology and radiation oncology, and to have incredible patients like Raven to take care of.
Thank you for your expertise and sharing this morning. What's the big takeaway today?
So I heard Raven say multiple times about how life got busy, didn't get the mammograms, but I think the really important thing is when she noticed something, she didn't say, oh, this is nothing, and put it off. She went the next day and said, I need to get this taken care of, right? So it's so important to also be our own advocate. And make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And sometimes it's really hard when we do have high level stress jobs, or we have family that we're taking care of, all of the above. It's really important to make sure that we're taking time out for ourselves as well. And like you said, it's an hour and a half out of our day. Sometimes we can go on Saturdays if we need to go get the mammograms. So it's just a very important step in making sure that we are finding these cancers early and we are having these really great outcomes. Because you can't have a really great outcome from all of this.
Thank you both for being here. Raven, again, thank you so much for sharing your story this morning and before and in the future, as I know you use your platform to get the word out. So what do you want the big takeaway to be from your personal story?
Don't let life get in the way of taking care of yourself, similar to what Dr. Balanoff said. And if something does happen, KU Med is a fantastic hospital partner for the Kansas City Current and for me. And I'm just grateful for the two that are sitting right next to you, Jess. I'm grateful for you too. But I am also just grateful for them and their grace and their care and taking care of this type A- patient that I'm sure is probably not always going to be the best to deal with. And shout out to Dr. Braun, because I'm looking forward to doing some new bra shopping. Super excited about that.
We have a date coming up.
New bra shopping, I
Yes.
love that. Okay, and the A-, she stuck the A- in there somehow, I got that. Okay, so I will see
Absolutely.
you, next time I'm coming to see you down there near the pitch.
Okay, near the pitch. Yes.
Near the pitch, I'm coming. We're gonna go overlook that pitch again.
Yes.
That was lovely.
Okay. I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
That was good, all right. And if you need bra shopping help, I'm good with that. I can help you with that too. I can do that. No marathons.
I will ring you up. Okay.
No marathons, but I can do that.
All right.
All right, Raven, thanks so much. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of our guests today. This was so
Thank
great.
you.
And thanks to our viewers for being with us. Have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
You've probably heard it all. Walk more, eat healthy, play those brain games. So what really works to stave off dementia? I'm Alexis Del Cid on the next All Things Brain Health. One woman doing everything she can and what the experts say truly works.
Subscribe to our morning medical update and open mics with Dr. Stites podcast. Now everywhere podcasts are available.